Oh my goodness. Hey, how you doing? I probably shouldn't have used that intro because I've gotten copyright strikes on that. Not legal ones. Uh anyway, hi, welcome to the show. It's Captain John Weber with you. And oh my gosh, what a great show we have for you. It's called Retro Rangers. You know what? We've made a little I hope this is it. I didn't label these things very well. Oh, wait a minute. We've got a sponsor. Oh, here's our sponsor. Hot hands or your hot e-reader or whatever you use. We can also enjoy having some fun with the author himself. That's right, the Joe Townsel of joetownsel.com is here. Hey Joe, how you doing, pal?
Oh, doing great, Captain. How are you?
Sorry, I'm a little challenged at the moment, but I'm very glad you're here.
Hey, it's a sneak premiere, so we're gonna have a couple of road bumps, so we're gonna smooth them out.
We're gonna smooth out these bumps as we go, and it's look, this is a Starbase 80 show. Starbase 80 is something that we started oh my gosh, almost 4 years ago now, during COVID, during the lockdown. And there's a group of friends of us who make up Starbase 80, and hopefully all of these friends will be on this show. But we're very lucky to have one of our very good friends right now, Starbase 80's chief engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello. Hopefully once again, because what a pleasant experience for you to see him again, ladies and gentlemen. It's Craig Lubin. I don't know why I went straight.
Hello,
for the
everybody.
I value Craig's expertise.
Craig, we love having you on the show. Explain to us the hypermedia or hyperspace question. Is this a brain teaser? What is this?
Yes. So to keep it simple, I'm doing a proof of concept on a web application. We're using something called hypermedia. Hypermedia just means the web stuff we're using. A lot of us are doing right now, right? Yeah. Over the years, it's evolved to this more complex thing. I'm doing it old school because I've been asked to resurrect an old style text adventure game. Ooh. And kids, those of you who don't know, back in the day, you'd have a game, it'd be some text, and you say, okay, I'm going to do this, blah, blah, blah. There used to be Dracula's Castle, Zork, a whole bunch of things too. Yeah. So I'm doing a Star Trek based one.
Oh,
a crash shuttle, and you have to figure out how to repair the damn thing and get it back into space.
Genius. And I mean that, genius. Like only smart people can really grasp how awesome that is, because it is like Zork. I remember that being a huge game back in the day.
Yeah. So well, I'm going to cheat on some of the narrative stuff. I'll get some writers I know to help me out in ChatGPT, but but
you'll edit it.
To edit it, yeah. I'm not going to be able, not that.
I can't tell you guys how often I've envisioned had a picture of Craig with a big, giant, brightly lit light bulb above his head, signifying the great ideas. Whereas I've only seen myself with like a little flickering candle sometimes, but
oh please, you've published something.
Mine's a refrigerator light, like.
So the hyperspace stuff is I'm trying to decide if I should make travel for the ship as well, right? Because it makes it more complicated. So it's going to be think of it as a series of paragraphs in a narrative, and you have a choice and you move to the next one. So I'm using something called hypermedia. Is the hypermedia API is the type of thing I'm doing to do that, right? So give it a shot. I'm doing the POC because my company's having a hackathon, not this week, but next week in New York, and I got to show them something. So I'm just doing it for not just for them, but for myself as well.
Well, that's
So
Awesome.
we really have so many great creatives in our collective. It makes me so happy that I can grab you guys. I can say, look, I got this wild idea. Actually, this one is I was talking with Joe because Joe and I had been doing shows, and I'm like, Joe, I kind of have an idea, but I kind of don't know how to complete it. And he completed it in my head for me right then and there.
nice.
The
Oh,
main
thank you, John.
thing, well, Joe, you're the one who came up with Retro Rangers.
I'm just happy to hear that I complete you.
You do. You do. I never would have thought of it that way, but it's true. You do. And really, it's so hard. Like you guys know, because Joe, you're a writer. Craig, you're a tech guy, but you're very creative. You do all kinds of creative stuff. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. Sometimes you're just like, I kind of have this idea. It's right in front of me, but I still have some blind spots. And it's your friends that can, really add and contribute and just say, hey, focus on this thing. And then that'll get you where you want to go, which is exactly where we are with Retro Rangers. Did I do the preview yet? I don't think I did.
I don't think
Not
you
the
did, John.
preview.
No,
The
you did
intro.
not.
So here's the intro that I created this week. That's still not it. Go to JoeTownsel.com. I have to label these things.
Man, you're pushing that sponsor today.
Yeah, you really.
And oh, there we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
I just want to thank storyblocks.com. Pay a lot of money for that service. It's nice to get some use out of it. Also, our theme song is it's actually from an old radio series called Space Patrol.
Oh,
Oh, I remember Space Patrol.
Space Patrol. One of the funniest things I wanted to do was because Retro Rangers is kind of in that, like, Captain Video, Captain Zero. It's in that old science fiction mode. And so I went to go hear, like, what does their theme music sound like? Because I need to have theme music for our show. And every single one of them, so I'll just do Retro Rangers because that's our show. Every single one of them starts off like this. Retro Ranger! Every one of the Buck Rogers in the 25th century! It's all just some guy yelling. And then usually there's like, chum, 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 chum. Come along, one and all. You can all hear the call. Now, I haven't been able to put any of that together, but I did steal a theme song from Space Patrol. So at least we got that going for us.
great job, John.
Well,
I love it.
What is Retro Rangers? Let's get into it. Let's get started. Retro Rangers is basically something we've been doing for like the past year. When we started doing these shows, it was mostly based off what our buddy Flobo Boyce does. And was doing then anyway. He's more of an interviewer and more of a traveler now. God bless him. We're all so jealous of you, Flobo. You have a fantastic life. You earned it, pal. You earned it. We would talk about a show that we had watched, and that's fun. When you're with your friends, like, hey, let's discuss this TV show that we all watched. But I always felt bad for the audience because there's nothing for them to do. If they didn't watch it, they can hear your conversation, but that's pretty much it. So we started getting into something that I've seen quite a bit of, that the fellas have said, hey, you should check this out too, which is reaction videos. And so we're going to review and react to different pieces each week. You're going to get to watch it live right with us, and whatever comments you want to send in on the comment page, we'll be happy to share them, and I'm sure we'll enjoy them as well. And let's get started.
All right.
We're going to start with something Joe and I were discussing, Craig, which was where do you start on a show like this? And Joe said, well, just recently put into the public domain is the very famous Mickey Mouse cartoon, Steamboat Willie.
Uh-huh.
Steamboat Willie is now public domain, which means we should be able to do this without getting sued by Disney. Ooh, hopefully.
I wouldn't put it past them.
I wouldn't put it past them either. So feel free to talk during it at any time. Mostly because we're not just producing, and we're not just saying, hey, everybody, here's our cartoon, Steamboat Willie. We own it now. It's not that. We're reacting to it. So let's watch it. And I got to tell you, I've watched bits of it, and it is insane. I just want to warn you, it is crazy. So I'm going to do a little share screen here. And I got to find my, not you, there you are. Okay, so let's get this all blowed up. This is a nice copy of it too.
A sound cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the big deal.
It was a very big deal, wasn't it, back in the day, that something had sound and it was custom sound.
And it was synchronized to the characters. So the whistling and the tap, we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I believe the voice of Mickey Mouse, maybe all the voices, provided by Walt Disney himself. So here we are. It's famous. You've heard about it. And I don't know if we've had this conversation too, but UB iWorks, that sounds like a company. It's a guy. Of iWorks. It's a guy. Might be pronounced Ube. I'm not sure. It's crazy. But he eventually went on to start his own studio called Cinephone. But here we go. Walt has put together this beautiful cartoon, Steamboat Willie, took the world by storm. Also introduced Minnie Mouse and Pistol Pete, who's the bad guy. So here we go.
Go, Mickey.
That's pretty impressive syncing there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the little one to sound like that. It's the short, fat one. Why are you laying up?
Oh, no.
Ah,
I was going to snap back on him.
and that's why I have a pot belly too. My back's been stretched out. Uh-oh, the boss caught you. Here's a weird theme we're going to have today. Disturbing birds. You'll see, but these are very disturbing birds.
Bird abuse.
Kids, don't do that to your brother. It's violence. You can't do that.
I love how very early Mickey Mouse is more mischievous, like Bugs Bunny would be later.
Yes.
Yes.
It was another thing too. Yeah. Man,
Little
that is
Liza.
some tobacco.
Now, kids, we want to say chewing tobacco is not good for you. And that could happen. Been known to
Especially it's
happen.
wacky tobacco.
That boat's going a lot faster than
You're no kidding, there's crazy birds.
I love that 90% of that cow is moo.
Segue to Doc.
Oh, that's just awkward.
Anybody
No.
else?
What are we doing here, people?
That's one way to do it.
Kind of racy for the time, wasn't it?
Oh, it gets worse. It gets so much worse. Now, I'm surprised it didn't occur to him that this cow has an eating disorder. Well, I suppose when it purges, it's just going to be hard.
Uh-oh.
Ah, Minnie, you missed the boat. But this is damn impressive because I've seen people run, but not wearing those heels.
No. I guess during this era, both Minnie Mouse and Betty Boop were topless, huh?
Yeah. And there's
Yep.
a lot of upskirt action happening here, too. Yep. Turkey in the straw, because it wouldn't be a day in America in 1927 if there wasn't a whole bunch of racism all ready to go. Kids, don't feed your goat a ukulele. I know I shouldn't have to say that, but there we are.
Another valuable PSA from Captain John.
Also, don't do this to a goat. Even if he ate your music. Or do it to a goat and see what happens.
Yeah. I also find it cool that both Mickey and Minnie are more rat-like in appearance here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
With
didn't
Mickey
quite
Rat.
have
They
that
decided-
homogeneous.
So, according to the story, Disney based this on a mouse that became a pet while he was struggling as a cartoonist starting out. Got the idea from his little pet mouse he had.
And I bet he still didn't pay him. All right, now the cat just randomly. See, now don't do that to a cat.
Oh my goodness.
Look at this. I mean, I suppose those two have history. All right, what did the duck ever do to you? Or is it a goose?
So is this actually an early form of Donald? Is that why he's always so pissed at Mickey?
Donald Duck's dad. Why he has a grudge with Mickey.
Oh, and just when you didn't think it could get weirder. Now we're going to pull the tails of babies while they're nursing.
Baby pigs.
Watch this. He shakes the babies off. He kicked the baby. Mickey Mouse kicked the baby. Now he's playing with boobs.
And what is he doing to Mama? Oh my goodness.
What the? Every one of those piglets should want to grow up and kill Mickey Mouse now.
Well, Minnie's no screw herself here.
We need to do a Steamboat Willie sequel dealing with this. Remember me, Mickey?
Now, one reason why I had such a bad week is because I had to go to the dentist where he was basically doing this. I love how your cow has hippo teeth. How does that work, Mickey? Oh. Well, no, the
Yeah,
cow
she liked it. He did.
One big S&M scene, it seems to me. Hey, you peel my potatoes.
Little KP punishment here. Hey, he's a bad peeler.
And there it is, the weird bird. The weird nemesis bird again.
I'm surprised
half a
they used
pig.
it on him.
I know. Yeah, what, and that's it?
That's it.
And that's Steamboat Willie.
That's Steamboat Willie,
You
and
have
no,
these woke
not heavy on
revolutions
plot, but
require
Oh my gosh. I
oh,
okay,
from
hang on. Let me get
Those
rid of
inauspicious
this.
pigs-
beginnings.
Those
Huh?
piglets all traumatized. Kicked
I
away
mean,
from their mother, kicked away from their mother's breast, and then saw somebody assault their mother.
I mean, there are superheroes who have been vigilantes, like gun-wielding vigilantes who've been inspired by less.
Well, one of those piglets went on to become Porky, and I left for Warner Brothers, so he got his revenge.
There you go.
So-
That's all. That's why. That's why he stutters. It's all. It's a
He's
twitch.
remembering. I got kicked off my mother's boob.
He's remembering this. That's all, folks.
Okay, so
Wow.
I wanted to, one of the things that we can do here on Retro Rangers, we can watch anything. We can watch anything from the past. There really are no rules. So one of the things I was thinking about sharing, let's see what you guys think of this.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Let's
I mean, we don't have to watch. We're not watching the full 8 minutes.
It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack.
I actually saw these at the drive-in once upon a time. This is straight out of Greece here. I always thought this was a little bit odd and kind of perverse.
Now I find this weird. I guess those are like Klondike bars or
Yeah,
something.
they're
I
like
think
ice
so.
cream bars.
I'm not too sure. I'm trying to figure.
No sticks though, because that would be really inappropriate.
Is that soft drinks or drunk soda?
Oh, he does have a stick.
It's okay.
Just a tripod.
Have to have that stick up there. Doctor's orders.
Your sweet tooth. So visit our refreshment center now. Let's go.
Let's go.
Show starts in 7 minutes.
Go crazy.
Okay, now we're getting it.
Oh wow.
Back when they actually made money selling Pepsi.
Yeah.
Wow,
This kind of stuff
focus,
is a snack
focus.
bar. Wow.
Oh, man.
No, you're right, Joe. There is a drive-in up here that still serves the stuff like this.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Enjoy a refreshing beverage. While our
If they have my
guys
favorite here, I'm gonna be so excited. They used to advertise pizza at the
Yum,
drive-in I went to,
yum.
and they had mushy
It's a
roomy
meal
room
in
sauce.
itself. All Super Dog. Enjoy
Super
one
Dog.
now.
So
No,
I'm
sir,
sorry if
in
this is
6
making
minutes.
anybody hungry, but this was just
As everyone knows, rainbows usually have a treasure at the end.
rainbows have a
Let's follow this
treasure
one
at the
and see if we
end.
can find the pot of gold.
Father, I suppose you've come to claim me treasure.
Well, we'd like to see the gold first.
Ain't the
Well,
No,
whatever.
no, just look here, no.
Candy, refreshing soft drinks, popcorn.
This
I
is
wouldn't
exactly.
trust any of that.
Well, that's some treasure, but anyone can buy
Don't eat that stuff. It's been in a trunk.
You don't tell me.
This looks
Do you
less like a
suppose you
leprechaun
could
than
get me
Elmer
a job as
Fudd.
a snack bar attendant?
Yes.
A snack bar attendant. That's a fancy name for snack bar monkey. All right. Let me just.
Okay, I got to tell you this story. Both the drive-in and my local little theater. When I was a kid, let's date Joe. Well, ladies, let's date Joe, but let's also date him. I was given $1 for my allowance. I would take
Sure.
you to the movie. Got into the movie. Soda, popcorn, candy bar, nickel left over.
Wow.
Damn.
Now, I should also point out that Joe is younger than me.
Not
That
too
was-
much.
It's still a great deal. That's a great deal.
I remember when I was about in 5th grade, and I can date myself here. This is in New York, by the way. I could, for $1, could buy soda, one ride on the bus or train,
Nice.
comic book, and chips, each a quarter.
Wow. So would you walk home? Because you only got one trip on the
Well, I had more than that.
You
but
blew
that
your
was
wad
the
on
pickup.
snacks.
Oh, I see.
But I remember that that was at the edge of my memory. Then it quickly went up to 50 cents, and then 75, and it's like
Do you remember when comic books, and you probably don't, comic books were a dime, and then they raised the price, but they felt like they couldn't go all the way to 15 cents, so comic books were 12 cents for a while.
What a pain.
I know,
for the
wasn't
merchants,
that? I don't remember that, but I do have comics I collected, and it would be like still only 12 cents.
Yeah.
Which means it's going to be going up real soon.
Yeah.
Now, I remember candy bars being a dime and then going up to 15. But if your candy was not chocolate, you kept it at a dime. So there was like a couple of peanut brittle bars that I used to buy. They were still a dime. Like Chuckles. Do you remember like those jellies? Those stayed a dime for a while. But yeah, if you wanted to get, a Hershey bar, that was up to 15 cents now. Now we're talking money.
I remember showing my daughter recently a comedy trailer for Star Wars called Hardware Wars. If you guys remember that thing. And one of the lines was, "You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss $2 goodbye." I'm crying over $2. Try 20.
Okay, guys. Now I think it's gonna be the first in a series within a series. So viewing right now, Joe's Nelson Mandela moment.
Oh,
and here it is. Although maybe one or both of you remember these. At the same aforementioned local theater, I would spend part of my dollar on flavored Milk Duds.
Oh,
they had lemon, cherry, and grape.
Yes.
Do I remember that?
Joe, when I was a kid, there was a retro theater called the Regency Theater on 67th and Broad, Manhattan. It lasted into the early 2000s, and they still would get the flavored Milk Duds. And when I was about 10 or 11, I got so sick because my old man, my father, God rest his soul, was an accountant, so he's really tight, but he gave me a whole $5 and I bought it all on those goddamn Milk Duds, and I got so sick.
I love them.
I ate I had like 5, I had like 10 cartons.
Oh my God.
And my old man's wondering why I'm bouncing around the subway like a ping pong ball on the way home.
So that'll be the basis of the Nelson Mandela effect segment. Is it really a Nelson Mandela effect, or did it actually happen?
No, I'm pretty sure, dude. I'm telling you, they had those, right? And they had the Milk Duds. And they also had the milk. They also had the Bomb ice creams too, as well. They had flavor. I remember that.
Oh yeah.
So I do remember that.
That's definitely canonical.
Now, Craig, I'm sure you've seen these being in the Northeast, but Joe, I don't know if you've ever seen these before. I got these for Christmas. I got Necco wafers.
Oh my God, Necco wafers,
and the chocolate as well.
Yes.
No, there was a convenience store where I used to work in San Diego that sold them.
No kidding.
Yeah,
and also since they're chalk candy, if you were really hard up, you could write out. You could use it for like filling in a Skelly's board if you want.
You could just do sidewalk art.
Yes, you could.
With your candy. Yeah, they're anyone who's never had Necco wafers before, they are as Craig says, they're very chalky. But they are individually flavored. And
yes, each one is a different
This is something.
John, I just realized I don't think my wife or my daughter have ever had Necco wafers. That's something I gotta just put on my list here.
They are a bit of an acquired taste for some folks.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. It's, everybody who's watching, it's chalky. We're not kidding. All right.
This chocolate Necco wafer tastes less like chocolate than anything I can imagine. almost anything in your junk drawer will taste more like chocolate than these. They have a certain cocoa kind of a quality, but that's about it.
That's
But
it.
I have to tell you guys,
and
just
remember the Necco wafer. That's why I've forgotten this. The Necco wafer factory is in Revere, Massachusetts,
Oh wow!
and I have visited the Necco wafer factory about 10 years ago because I could.
Yeah,
I was mostly software working in Boston. One time we were like, "Hey, let's go out to the Necco factory. Go to the Necco the wafer factory." And all of us were like, "Yeah, let's go."
in Cambridge, Massachusetts, so across Charles River from Boston, was the Brock's factory. Lots of delicious smells. Although every once in a while they would like burn off all the molasses or something. Every once in a while there'd be a terrible smell coming out of there. But for the most part, if you pointed yourself out there and you had a big old honker like mine, you get some nice candy. Free candy smell. I miss that about the Boston area, that they had their own candy companies out there.
Yeah. The only thing that they really talk about these days is the great molasses explosion of the 19th century on the North End.
Oh my God. That's a thing, isn't it?
It's a thing. You're gonna laugh about this. So any engineering student in the area, it's going to be professors somewhere, high school or college, who's going to talk about what the capacity was of the bins, what caused it to fail, how much molasses was actually there, and how many people got whacked by molasses, because we're all twisted individuals here.
That's very Boston, though. Do you remember? I used to work in the John Hancock Tower for a couple of years there. I was doing comedy at night, but my day job was basically janitorial at the Hancock Tower. When the Hancock Tower was first opened, apparently the wind would hit the building and then pop out windows. The wind was such coming off the Boston Harbor that it would twist the building. And they actually hired MIT students to figure out how to counter it. Did you ever know that story, Craig?
Yes, it was I forgot. It's called oscillation amplitude, where it's like taking a tuning fork and hitting it and it starts to generate. But unfortunately, the thing that was being tuned was the window frames.
Yes,
against the wind. So they had basically not a counterbalance, but basically dampeners on the side, so the windows go flying out, smacking people in the street.
And from what was explained to me, so granted that you're hearing this, from one of the most unscientific people in the world, that's me. They took out elevators and replaced them with like those weights on the chains in a grandfather clock to create counterweights, so that when the wind hits the building, the weights shift and it'll come back upright. And I can tell you from having worked in the building during some storms, it creaks like an old wooden ship.
The old World Trade Centers had a similar effect too. When it got there too, it'd start to move, and they have huge counterbalances on there that would just move a few inches just to keep it building, so keep the resident stuff just from moving back and forth. My father worked in that building for many years, when he was working as an accountant for the city of New York, and he'd take me down there for taking a look at that. And I used to love it. Wow.
It's this is the reason why there was a show called Modern Marvels. We've lived through all this. All right. Well, our main feature is it's a Superman cartoon. It's a Superman cartoon from the Fleischer Studios.
Fleischer, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And gonna be some fun. I previewed this one and it looked really good. Some of them are racist. There's always racism lurking.
Being from the 40s, I'm aghast. I can't believe it.
I'm shocked.
There's a very if one were Japanese, one would have a lot of problems with one of these cartoons. We're not going to be watching that one. But we will be watching this one. It's called The Mad Scientist. So let me get that on the screen.
No offense intended, mad scientists out there. Okay.
He prefers angry.
I'm a little
Perturbed
intense.
scientists.
All right, get this going. You and then you.
Paramount. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that. I really forgot that. Oh, what did I do to the sound? Hang on.
There you go. Yeah.
That's the traditional theme, isn't it? They use that in the
Yep.
TV show as well. Bud
Similar.
Collier is the actor who plays the voice of Superman. It's very cool. He played it in the 40s movies. He also played it on the radio show. He played Superman. And then in the 1960s, Superman cartoons once again. Bud Collier.
And Max Fleischer also did some of the Popeye Sinbad cartoon, which is quite famous.
Oh,
And a little racist at times, but still good.
my bad. Dave Fleischer.
David Fleischer, sorry.
In the endless reaches of the universe, there once existed a planet known as Krypton. A
None.
planet that burned like a green star in the distant heavens. Their civilization was far advanced and had brought forth a race of supermen.
Oh, that sounds
whose mental
wonderful.
and physical powers were developed to the absolute peak of human perfection.
Well, let's visit this
But
planet.
There came a day when giant quakes threatened to destroy Krypton forever.
Wait a minute,
One
what?
of the planet's leading scientists.
Remember,
sensing
they
the
all had
news,
powers in
placed
this
his infant
version.
son in a small rocket ship and sent it hurtling in the direction of the Earth just as Krypton exploded.
Oh, Krypton, we barely knew you. That's it. It's
The
gone.
rocket ship sped through star-studded space, landing safely on Earth with its precious burden, Krypton's sole survivor. A passing motorist found the uninjured child and took it to an orphanage. As
Artist's
the years went
rendering.
by,
An
the
orphan.
child grew to maturity
This
and
Superman
found
was an
himself
orphan.
possessed of amazing physical powers, faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Couldn't
The
fly
infamous
yet.
Krypton is now
Couldn't fly
the
yet. Nope.
Steel
Nope.
Superman. To best be in a position to use his amazing powers in a never-ending battle for true justice, Superman has assumed the skies of Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper.
You're the hubbub in the city.
Kent, I want to see you. Just received another threatening note. Okay, Mr. White.
Sure sounds like Mel
Oh,
Blanc to me,
Another note from the man hands.
right?
Now listen to this warning. He plans to strike tonight. Beware, you fools. My electrophanasia ray strikes tonight at 12.
Science term.
Flash.
Destruction
Just
come
was
to
it
those
fountain
who
pen?
laugh at me and fail to heed my warning. Beware.
Well, that's how you know he's
I strike
mad.
at midnight.
He can't really
This
use
cannot
pen
be
and
proved
ink.
dangerous. Kent, you help Lois follow up her lead.
And open your
They have an
eyes,
angle
damn it.
on this thing. Yes, sir.
But, Chief, I'd like the chance to crack the story on my own.
You're just a silly
No,
woman.
Thanks, Chief.
But
Need help?
Lois.
But Lois, oh, she's
Don't you
too
think that's a
headstrong.
dangerous mission.
I love how it's canon that Lois has purple eyes.
Purple.
They still do that in the cartoons. Her eyes are still, well, violet. I don't know, lavender.
Purple.
I didn't know she was a pilot.
And she's a pilot. Who knew? Art Deco. Yeah.
So is this like the foreshadowing of Mr. Lex Luthor, perhaps?
One would think, but this
He's
guy does
almost
not have
bald.
Lex's sense of
Freaky
style.
bird. Freaky bird.
Freaky bird. It's Freaky Bird night. Now, my theory is that this bird is a buzzard.
I think it's the same bird from Steamboat Willie, and he's really angry.
He's just been bitter all these years.
Well, Mickey threw that potato at him. Probably just knocked him into this cartoon. What's this?
Bird security. What is it, Freaky Bird?
Let me throw this lever real quick. Okay.
Really shouldn't have put so many stairs in here. I'm a scientist. You
Check
think
out
I
that
know
hairdo, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Guy's
Like
really
less
missing
than
a
a
mohawk.
Mr. T hairdo.
Yeah.
That's some pretty good parking right there by the girl reporter.
I pay the Superman.
Yeah, man. How did she land there? That's
Yeah. And the special bird lock.
I'm a reporter for the.
Oh my God!
My goodness.
Get your hands off her, you mad scientist! Well, no one will be able to get in now that the bird lock is engaged.
he's in good
You're
shape.
a bird. You could have just flown up.
You want the story?
He's in good shape to pick her up all those damn stairs. Damn it!
The world has ever known.
So, which cartoon so far has had more S&M in it? Steamboat Willie or this?
I have to go with this.
Yeah.
It's alive.
He's compensating.
Oh no!
Oh.
Ah!
Well, there's about 100 people dead.
How is that for a story, Miss Lane?
Just call me Mothman.
True to his threat, the
I am
mad
Dr.
scientist,
Mohawk.
who held the city in a grip of terror, went on his rampage of destruction on the stroke of midnight.
Ah, there's
The
a smile
deadly
on my
impact
face.
of his mysterious ray smashed the famous Tower Bridge, hurling cars and pedestrians into the river below.
Oh,
The police have warned
you're right, Joe.
everyone to
There's a lot of
remain in
people.
their
That...
homes.
This looks like a job for Superman.
That's one of my favorite things about Bud. Bud Collier will do the beginning of the line like Clark Kent, and then he'll
And he
finish
switches
it
Superman
as
voice, yeah.
Superman. This looks like a job for Superman.
And there's not a half dozen guys that 2 feet away to hear it either.
Well, everyone's distracted by the radio.
That's true.
Got to get something good on the radio, and then you can sneak out of
you
the broom
can fly
closet
in this.
in your
Okay.
long
You're
underwear.
forgetting.
I guess he can fly by this time. Okay.
Yeah, he can. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's flying legit, isn't he?
You get flew in all these cartoons.
Uh-oh, he just happened to hit the Daily Planet.
Man, it's intense.
We need a scientific solution to this. So first, I'll push the melting building back up. That'll be easy. Let's just do that.
Mark, pull back.
Oh. There we go.
Hey, someone stole the globe off the Daily Planet building.
Daily Planet dysfunction.
I like how he's struggling, though.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing. He's not just instantly invincible. He has to work at it.
But he's punching back the beams is pretty intense.
Craig, in all your lifetime, have you spent a lot of time punching back beams of light?
No, usually megawatt lasers, when we let them go, you know, we stayed out of the way. Tried to at least.
I just love the idea that you can punch it out with light.
Superman.
That's why he's Superman, folks.
Well, I'm assuming it's some sort of charged plasma, but I'll give it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's got some solidity to it.
Yeah.
Seems to be having some albinism effect on both Superman and Lois Lane. And the
The
man.
lighting is terrible inside this lair.
Makes everyone look like a ghoul.
Yeah,
Superman.
we've all had that feeling.
Yep, it's got to be a plasma.
What?
Oh, big zit.
But I can imagine sitting in a movie theater seeing this, thinking it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, these were
On an
well
enormous
received.
6-foot screen. Well, Lois, have to save your bacon again.
That's it, Superman. Run. Don't,
Yeah, run, don't fly.
fly.
There he goes.
But that's more like a leap right there.
Yeah.
Oof.
Just throw him in there.
Literally throws him in jail. I love it.
Like
Why
on
didn't
his
you treat me
head.
as Gene Hackman. That would have been awesome.
Congratulations, Lois. That was a great scoop.
Yes, Chief. Thanks to Superman.
I'm not getting paid this week.
Where's that way?
Oh, there we go.
There was
Well,
definitely
gentlemen.
a superpower arc with Superman over the decades. Less super,
Oh.
invincible, then less super again.
I have a book in the house called The Physics of Superheroes because yes, I
Sure.
would have right, and it talks about that very thing, Joe. How Superman started off with very concrete powers. He could jump 1/8 of a mile, right? He could take bullets and stuff, but when you shoot like tanks, he actually could get hurt, but he could heal really well. Couldn't fly, could just jump. Pretty strong. And everybody on Krypton had his powers. Planet blew up. He was only survivor. And the comics were a lot more radical. One story, there's a striking co-workers, and they're striking because they're dying of black lung, basically. So to convince the 4 owners of the place that they're doing something wrong, Superman locks them in the mine overnight and says, "Let's see how you fellas like it."
I also remember. Oh, go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, no, and so one of them, and they actually got sick. And then there was a one where a guy was beating his spouse, and Superman, same thing, takes the guy and beats the crap out of him and says, "How do you like it?"
I remember one of the stories is there are 2 unnamed warring nations because I guess it was too rude to point out any specific nation at the time. And Superman grabs the leaders of both nation and puts them right in front of each other. He's like, "Go ahead, fight it out."
Yep.
Just like 2 siblings.
And the guys are like, "Well, I mean, I don't want to get hurt. Why don't we have peace between our nations?" Yeah, Superman was
it was
kind of a
quite
radical socialist back in the day.
It was. Oh boy, it was so. I mean, Joe, the two creators were, not socialists, but yeah, they're pretty left-leaning fellas.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, growing up Jewish in America was going to be pretty hard in those days. The anti-Semitism, this is pre-World War II, so the anti-Semitism is pretty good, pretty powerful.
There was a comic book that ran from like 98 to like the mid 2000s called The Authority. It was done by Image Comics.
Yeah.
And it took that thing. And the idea is very simple. These guys, they were the Justice League. They had similar powers, but basically that's. And the idea is, what if the Justice League one day said, the hell with the status quo?
Yeah.
And the very first issue, they go to North Korea, they pick up the leader, and they give him to the people, and they go, "All right,
Oh, wow.
you're so good there, you guys." And the military tries to stop, and they just, they stop them. And the whole series is about the government's just losing their shit because they're screwing with the money and the status quo.
Right.
And towards the end, and this comic was so left-leaning that by the time of the Bush administration, it was Dick Cheney called it out as a threat to our country, because and soon after in the comic book, their greatest enemy became the United States of America.
Oh, wow.
Big surprise.
There was also in the mid 80s. Yeah, so we're talking like 86, I think, was when Mark Gruenwald at Marvel Comics was doing the 12-issue Squadron Supreme.
I remember. Yes.
And they live on an alternative Earth. They don't live on our Earth. And
Yes.
they are basically the Justice League, and they basically said, let's solve all the problems. And of course, every time you come up with a solution, there are problems that come directly from that.
Yes.
And that becomes the story. You know, they try to settle the gun issue. It does not go well. They try to reform criminals. It does not go well. So it's really, that's a great pair of stories there that you might want to take a look at. One from DC, one from Marvel.
I do find it very interesting watching the Fleischer cartoon tonight. Just the overall history of the character as far as his different levels of vulnerability physically.
Right.
Yes.
And because it just got so ridiculous at a point.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we have to credit the Christopher Reeve movies.
Yes.
As paring
Good
it down,
point, Joe,
because it was 10 years later that John Byrne in the comics, okay, we're going to start this over.
And John Byrne cited the Christopher Reeve and John Donner movie from 1978 as the reason why he did that. He said,
well, because I mean, it was,
yeah,
it made the character interesting again because you could knock Superman
remember,
on his flat.
he's chasing. Remember, he was chasing. I remember this so distinctly, Joe. And this was really made an impression on me as a kid. Is that there were 2 missiles Luthor launched, and he could only stop one.
Right.
He was fast, but you could see him. He was like, he's like hypersonic. Look, this is still goddamn impressive, but he wasn't like light speed Superman, because in the 50s, in the golden age, oh my God, you go through time. He could move the planet, right?
I remember on the TV show, he vibrates through a wall.
Yes, I know. So he gets like the Flash's powers. Yeah, it's just like insane.
And of course, in Superman the movie, we will disregard the fact that yes, he can only catch one of the missiles, but 10 minutes later, he's like going around the Earth like 10 times a second.
Yeah. It's so funny about that. I remember an interview with Christopher Reeve, before he passed, and he was talking about it, laughing. They go, it was one of those things that got through, and people were like, I can't, they wanted, trying to come up with something else, and it kind of got through anyway. And they were, because up until that point, as you were saying, Joe, everything was consistent. All of a sudden, he's moving faster than the speed of light. So Christopher Reeve said, he says, think of it as like this last ditch, different, adrenaline filled. I'll put my all in it. He can only do it once. That was kind of the joke.
Ah, that's a good way of looking at
saving
it.
Lois, so it stands to reason. But I think the important topic tonight is the mind-bending element of the crazy evil bird. Because I mean, did the comics ever have any kind of humanized animals in them like that? Well, I guess they had Crypto later, but
right.
Well, he did have an entire cadre of super pets at one point. Remember?
Oh yeah,
Super monkey.
Yeah, don't forget Beppo.
Beppo, Zippy the cat. Oh my God, we're all going to hell because we know this.
Zippy, Wizzy was another one of the cats.
Wizzy,
I think he was like a later
monkey,
version.
Crypto, yeah. So it got nuts. Then they got down back to Crypto.
Do you remember? And I barely remember this. I think I read it. The super horse. At one point, Supergirl falls in love with him, and dreams that they get married.
I do remember that. And the horse becomes human, and it's funny. Everybody who has any knowledge of that's like, that's kind of fucked up. Everybody.
I mean, my mind is so perverse and twisted. The first thing, I didn't know that story. I didn't know he became human first. And then what did she fall in love with exactly?
I know, Joe. Everybody, when they first see it falls in love with a horse, they think it's that, and it's pretty up to a point. You're like, hey, but then it becomes human. You're like, yeah, okay. But when?
Okay.
When did that happen? Before or after?
Hey, we all knew that Supergirl's a horse girl. We all knew that. It's not like you don't know that.
That story is so weird because we have horses up here. I torture my wife all the time.
Our buddy Mario Retro Tiburon is with us, and so we're catching up. Superman is too OP. That is the problem from the word go, is that Superman has always been overpowered.
And I do agree with that point, but they did. I would say in the early 2000s they started making that less of a problem. An example, there's a famous Superman comic where they redid his story, right? And they did this first in the Donner Superman. I have all these powers, I couldn't save my dad, right? Once again, Superman's up in the Antarctic and he's fighting Brainiac, right? His father, at the time is in his 70s or 80s, grabs a tree and he goes, Clark. And Superman fucking just flies, it gets her, and he's burning. He cools himself off, gets to his father. His father's dead. There's nothing he can do about it. And he's just devastated. And it's almost the same line. And I started, and they flash back to a scene with Clark figuring out, he gets, communicated through his ship that he's from Krypton. He goes running into the field. I mean, at full speed, right? He can't fly yet. His father, Chase, goes out there and he's crying his head off. And he goes, I don't want to be this, blah, blah, blah. I want to be your son. And he picks him up, hugs his son. He goes, you are my son. You always will be. And they flash that scene. And I'm watching this thing. I'm telling you, the onions in the room started getting to me.
Gosh darn allergies.
I understand the OP, by humanizing this guy, I think it makes it less that, he still has his limits. But yes, I know it gets, but anyway, let you guys talk.
Oh, no, not that. I was going to put in a plug for something real quick before it slipped my mind, but watching the cartoon tonight reminded me of this and how great a takeoff it was in the original Mad comic book, not the magazine. And their parody called Super Duper Man, and it really plays like the cartoon we just saw.
Right.
Oh my God, Joe! I remember those. Oh God, they were. Doesn't he get beaten up by Popeye at one point in that one?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we want to thank Mario for joining us, who has just in emojis told a very dirty sex story. A woman and a purple heart and a horse. Wow, that's
well done.
Mario, man of the
that Supergirl story. Every time someone is told that, they're like, "What?"
Okay, and I also want to make sure that we drop another mention of our dear friend Joe Townsel's website, joetownsel.com, of course.
Thank you, sir.
You can check out his books and his collections that he appears in, and of course the most recent being Hell and Wellness. Joe, give the folks a real nice fast pitch about Hell and Wellness.
Hell and Wellness. I can't even say the title. Hell and Wellness. Part fiction, part memoir. It's largely based on my own experiences as a patient and hellish experiences. I think it is initially horrifying, ultimately life-affirming. I think people really enjoy it.
Just as I mean, these are the years that I've known you while you were having these health battles, and
yes,
look at you. You look great.
Oh, thank you so much.
At the top of your game. I hit the wrong one, didn't I? I meant to hit this one. Nope. I meant to hit that one. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. We're cutting it short because we can, for once. Craig Lubin, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thanks.
Townsel, always
fun as always.
And Mario, thanks for dropping by. And I'm your buddy John Weber, and thanks for joining us. What a lot of fun we had. Next week, 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. on the East Coast, where our good friend Craig is. And join us once again for Retro Rangers. See you next week.
See you guys.